today it's going to be a different session. It's not something which is related to your subject. And as your exam season is here and you all have started studying for the examination, maybe you have your own timetable, maybe your school teachers is providing you a lot more extra classes, everyone is busy in clearing your doubts. Maybe some of you will be really anxious, or maybe some of you will be stressed when you hear this term board examination or this term examination. So thinking from the student perspective, I know how I was feeling when I was a student or when I was in school. So today you have a platform where you can discuss what you're feeling, or what are the problems that you're facing, or at what point of time in your studies are you having an issue. So you can type in the chat box any of the issues that you're facing. So we'll be trying to help you in all those regards. So I'll never read out the names in the chat box. So I think we can start our session, right? So the first thing someone started typing is regarding the dates clash. Yeah, we know, but we should have some plans so that we'll be able to crack it or crack that issue. So let's begin. So today we'll discuss about the whole preparation strategy of board exam, how you should deal with anxiety or stress, what are you feeling right now. So all those things we'll be discussing today. So how many of you have this feeling, any of these in your mind when you think about your board exams, or when you're out of your examination hall, when you're just it's 5 minutes before the examination and you're just taking everything, maybe your pen, pencil, your hall tickets and all those things, and you're just going to enter into the examination hall. And how many of you have experienced any of these symptoms? Can you please raise your hands? Maybe some of the participants have started raising their hands. Yeah, the count is really increasing. So maybe we have faced maybe at least any of these symptoms before entering into an examination hall, right? Maybe we'll feel confused. We'll feel like, yeah, I'm having some issue in my stomach. I feel like I'll vomit now. I'm having a headache. I don't remember anything. Some of the students used to tell like, when I'm entering into the exam hall, I feel like I'm going blank. I have heard this. So basically, being from a counseling background and being interacting with students, I know that some students have opted like, yeah, I'm going blank. And one more thing is this test anxiety can also be subject specific. So it's like students will write these subjects like English and all very easily. They'll go to the exam hall, they'll write, they'll come back, they'll not be that much stressed. But when it comes to mathematics or something like physics, most of them will say like, I'm not able to remember all the identities that I have studied, all the equations, how this derivation is working and all those things. So today, we will be discussing about what are the reasons which is causing this anxiety or this pressure or this stress. And we'll come up with some method which will help you in tackling these issues. So the first worry among students will be, it's the worry or it's about failure. Maybe some of you will feel like, will I be able to score this mark? Will I be able to pass in this examination? That's the first part. And some of the students will be aiming for higher marks. So it's like 99 out of 100. They want that particular mark. It's really good to aim something if you want to achieve it in your life. So the pressure of getting good marks, how the questions will be, what will be the difficulty level, how I'm going to cope up with this. So that's the second part. And the next one that comes is the parental pressure. With you, your parents, maybe all the members in your home, even your sisters, brothers, or your grandparents, everyone will be stressed if there is a child in the family who is going to give their board exams. So this is what is the strategy that we say in our homes, or that's there in our country. So most of the parents are expecting really high when it's about their kids. or they're planning to aim something which they were not able to achieve in their life. They are dreaming of something which they were not able to achieve in their life through their children. I would never say it's wrong, but it can cause some pressure in you. And the next part is competitiveness, right? Maybe your mother will compare you with your aunt's son, or maybe your cousin, someone who is in your flat, maybe someone who is your classmate. So that's also there. And most of the students want to do really good in the examination, but how much time I'm dedicating to studies, I feel like I have not fully prepared. I have not completed my studies. Most of the students are having this feeling. I want to do really well in my examination, and I'm studying maybe 6 to 7 hours per day. I'm dedicating this much time to this subject, which I'm really bad, but still I'm not able to gain that confidence. And the next problem that we have already mentioned is not able to remember things. And maybe you are having study holidays. The examination is on 26th. So you have maybe 20 days ahead for the examination. And you have a lot of books in front of you. You have a lot of subjects, a lot of chapters, and you feel like you are having a lot more things and you don't know where you have to start. Or this is the situation of some students at this point of time. Maybe schools have started their study holidays. And the next part is most of the students are thinking about the consequences. That's why you are stressed. What your parents will think. What will be the behavior of your teachers if you're not able to score maybe this mark? If you're not able to reach their expectation, what will happen? What will your neighbors say? What will your parents say? What will your siblings feel? So there is a fear of being left out alone when it comes to you. And some students feel like, yeah, I have studied this whole subject this year and I'm having 6 subjects and I'm not able to complete or revise these 6 subjects in 20 days. And you feel like it's not going to work well. I'm having this much portions, and even my mathematics subject is having this much chapters, 11 or 20 chapters. So how I am going to manage these things? So these are some of the reasons which can make you stressed, or which can make you anxious, or which will make you really worried about examinations. Now moving on, we'll see what actually the stress or this anxiety or this pressure means. So technically we can call the stress as a natural human reaction that happens to everyone from time to time. It's not about examinations. We are stressed about a lot more things in our life, right? If maybe a doctor has asked us, maybe your parent to take some tests, and we know this particular test is being conducted to this disease, maybe your whole family will feel that pressure maybe for some days till the result comes, right? So it's the normal human reaction that happens to every individual or every person, maybe at different portions of your life or different time period. And we can call this stress as the body's natural defense or response to something which is pressurizing them, or to something which is threatening them, or to something which is frightening them. So have an understanding that this stress or this pressure or this anxiety is something that is normal. And every individual is experiencing this. So if a person is having excessive pressure, or maybe if someone is demanding something, if there is some demand that is placed upon them, they'll be really stressed. And sometimes that demand will exceed that person's maybe their capacity, maybe their resources. So then the person will become really stressed. The criteria or the condition is that stress is really good, or pressure or this anxiety is really good when it is in mild form. If you feel like, yeah, I have 20 days for the examination. So if I'm starting today, I'm starting my preparation today, I'll be able to cover the portions. And I have a lot of gap between the examinations. So if I'm skipping some portions at this revision period, maybe I'll be able to study during that holiday. So it's like, in which manner you are taking that pressure, you'll get an output related to that. So when it's in mild form, it's really useful for you. It can motivate you, or it can help you to prepare early. It can keep you focused. So all these are some of the advantages. So what is the point where the stress is going to destroy you, or the stress is going to create problems? So if your stress levels are low, then it's completely fine. But when these levels are high, it will start creating difficulties for you. It will affect your preparation strategies, or it can decrease the ability in which you are, or the level in which you are preparing for an examination. Maybe it can affect your performance in the examination also. We have heard it in different places, right? Maybe some students will have the stage fear. We heard this term, right? So it's something where they're really stressed about facing the audience, or there may be some issue in that point, right? So for each student who is listening to this session, the first point I wish to say is, have an understanding that being stressed in life is really okay. Or stress is something that is actually natural, or it's actually normal to feel stressed or anxious or in your life. So that's what is stress is. Now the next important part is, when you feel like this stress is becoming higher, because it's 7 days before the examination, or it's only 10 days before the examination. So when you feel like it's getting higher, what you have to do is, you have to take some steps or some measures that can make you calm, or that can help you to be peaceful, or that can help you to come out of this stress. That's what every student has to do. So never ever give the stress a chance to control you. That's the important part. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, so we'll continue. So this is some statistics that I have collected from previous survey. So 96% of students feel anxious about examination. So there is something which is called as anxiety, or something called as stress. 59% of students feel pressure from the family. Even though we say like parents can understand everything, but still they are pressurizing children when it comes to marks and all. Or they'll ask you to study maybe 24/7. They'll not allow you to go outside and play. They'll not give you some free time. They'll not allow you to take rest. All these things will be there. And the next important part is, 64% of students would like to get more support during examination time. So see the count. There may be 4 or 5% who will feel, yeah, it's okay, I'm going to write the examination, or feel I don't have any stress, I'm okay, I'll write this exam. So try to have an understanding that exam anxiety or stress is normal. And I have seen some students who are, it's really interesting, or it's something which is really wrong from the student perspective. They are talking to their friend like, I'm really worried about this mathematics equation. I don't know whether I'll be able to recollect all the equations or the derivations that I have studied. And she is worrying about that fact. Will she be able to reproduce that? She is actually stressed. So never worry or your worry. It will add up to your stress, and this is not going to affect you in a good manner. So take part, be proactive, and you have to keep this in control. This is really important. Now moving on. One thing I wish to ask all the students is, how many of you have an idea about what to say? Is this the, can you please mention the number? It's like you are writing this is your 50th examination, or this is your 60th examination. How many of you remember how many exams you have given till now? I think most of you are in 12th, and it's the 14th year, maybe from your KGs, you have completed your 10th, after that 11th, and then now you are in 12th. And how many exams? We are not able to remember the number of exams that we have done, right? We have this assignment test, we have this class test, we have this term test, then we have this board exam, we have written model exams. So there are a lot of examinations that we have already covered and that we have already passed, and we have this marks and grade sheets with us, right? So we have covered all these things and still we are struggling when it comes to some examination. Why this is happening? Of this 14 years, we have written these many examinations and still we have this fear. Maybe you will feel like this is board examination. Or maybe your parents have told you like you have to score 95% or 96% in 12th. Then only you will be able to get admission into a particular college. That can be a trigger factor for your stress. I would never say like having a good score in your board exam is really important. It's really important, but try to have an understanding what's the minimum eligibility criteria to write the JEE examination. It's the joint entrance examination conducted by NTA, and their minimum eligibility criteria is 75%, I think, if I'm not wrong. So none of these exams are asking for your 96% or 100% or 95%. We need to score good, but never be that much stressed about this thing. So from my knowledge, I'll give you one example. So when I was in 10th, my mom told me you have to score really good, then only you'll get a seat, or you have to select, you have to choose the science stream. That's really important. This was story in 10th. So I have to choose the science stream. So I was not having that much work. I would tell you it was maybe before 10 to 12 years. So I was able to score something 80s. The percentage was in 80s. So I joined a 12th with PCMB. That's physics, chemistry, maths, and biology. So when I was in 12th, my parents told me you have to score a lot more marks, then you'll get admission into a college. Yeah, it's okay. I managed to score something like 85 or 89%. Okay. And I would tell you, I'm not that. I used to study maybe during the study holidays, and I somehow managed to get the score. Right. Then I entered into an engineering college. So basically, I'm from that background. So I have completed my engineering. And during that interview, also, they have asked me maybe 75 or 60% score in that particular branch or something. So nobody is going to ask your score. It's just a step to enter into your dream or your aim or something. I think every one of you should have a dream in your life. I want to be an engineer, maybe a doctor or someone. So this is just a step, or this is just a what to say, a stone in that path, or you have to cross this and then you have to get into that dream. So never be stressed about this. Never be stressed about this too much. You'll be able to pass this, and that 75% and all. It's really good. So now we are moving on to something which is really detailed. We have talked about stress and all those things. There may be students who are really confused and who don't know where I have to start my studies and all those things. So the first step I wish to tell, or I wish everybody should follow, is declutter your mind. This is a very simple step. There are different methods. But what method I used to follow is, I think most of you have a favorite place in your life, right? Maybe playground can be, maybe a park, maybe your room itself, maybe that particular chair, maybe this corner of your school. So you all will have a favorite place, right? Take a book and a pen, maybe some paper, go there, write whatever you want to write. This is something which will help you to flush out your mind. Maybe there are students who are not able to write a single word. I will tell you that there are students who will not be able to write a single word. Okay, that's the first case. The second case is, there are students who will write 5 to 10 pages. So whatever is there in your mind, you have to flush it off, but never tear down or never throw that paper away. Just keep that paper with you. Maybe once you have written all these things, your mind will be clear, you will be fresh, and you can come and you can start whatever task you were doing. So once you have completed all these things, maybe after your examination, just take that paper, just read all the things, then try to analyze yourself. Because it's your board exams are nearing, so I would not advise you to read and analyze what all things you have written. Just write the things that you want, keep that paper with you. Maybe after 1 month or something, or 2 months or something, you can just read it out and you can just analyze what was it. So it's a very important strategy which will help you to keep your mind clean. Then you'll be able to start from the scratch. So you'll have that much energy, you'll feel motivated because there is nothing in your mind and you have flushed out everything. So this is a strategy which I used to do even at this point of time. Now moving on, I have some more strategies for you. Maybe these are all the strategies that you have already, maybe someone has already told you. So we have some special points in this. So the first thing is, maybe you can start exercising. It's not like one day you're going to do a lot more exercises, maybe for the six pack and all, just simple exercises, even walking. Maybe 10 or 15 minutes of walking in a calm place can keep your mind fresh. Or maybe you can try breathing exercises also. And the next important part that most of the students lack is, everyone is having a mentality of thinking things in the negative way or thinking in a negative way or this negative attitude. It's like I have 20 days for the examination. I'm having only 20 days for the examination. I'm having 20 days for the examination. It's like what way you're going to analyze a thing or what way your mind is going to analyze a thing. It really matters. If you're thinking like I'm having only 20 days, I don't know how I'll study the 6 days. So from that point itself, you're really stressed, right? If you're thinking like I'm having 20 days, I'll create a proper timetable and I'm going to study really hard. I'll make use of every minute so that I'll be able to score good in the examination. So this is another strategy. So try to take the second strategy. So always create positive mental messages. There may be a lot of people to talk behind you, maybe your neighbors. When they see like you are walking and tomorrow you have an examination, they will come and ask, you have completed all the portions? Have you completed it? There are a lot of portions and every student in this college is studying and you are out for a walk. So never ever give your ears to any one of them. And always picture your success. So it's like, think about you are in the examination hall and you are really easily writing all the answers. You are doing the mathematics problem. If maths is tough for you, think about you are solving this mathematics problem. So when you are studying, try to imagine this also. If this question or this type of question comes in the examination hall, so I'll be doing this. So I'll solve this in this way. And the next part is productive environment. So this is something like the place you select for study. So surround yourself with positive people. Always organize your place. Maybe there are different methods. You can use sticky notes or you can use markers. You can have to-do lists. So all these are some of the methods that students used to follow. So try to relax also when you're studying. So always create positive mental messages. Always picture your success. And keep your confidence level high. This is really important. If you're not able to believe in yourself, will any other person believe you? No, right? Maybe if I'm asking you to rate yourself, like how much you believe in yourself, and I give you a number from 1 to 10, how many of you will opt for 10? Can you please type in the chat box? It's like I'm asking you to rate yourself. 10, ma'am. Lavanya has typed 10. It's really good. There may be students who are typing 3, 2, or 9, or 8. And even those students who have typed 10, they are still having a confusion in their mind. Maybe 9 or 8. They feel like I'm 100% confident about myself, but I don't know whether I will give 10 marks for myself. So never ever go for this. You are the person who is going to do all these things and you are going to do this for yourself. So you have to be confident, then only other people will have the strength or the belief in you. Maybe your parents and all, right? So try to be confident. This is really important. So keep your head high. Sorry. Now moving on. There are students who are really worried about the examination. It's like not the examination, about the exam hall or the setup there. It's like a teacher will be standing there and a really calm and quiet atmosphere. Maybe one person will be sitting in a bench or something, or maybe 2 persons, not more than that, right? That atmosphere can be stressful to some students and they'll not be able to reproduce what they have studied. So for those students, Just create an atmosphere similar to that. It's not like you can just do it in a room, have a clean table, have a chair, just sit like you are sitting in an exam hall, write what are things you remember. Maybe if it's a maths problem, take the question, you have studied it maybe 2 days before, have the question with you, try to solve it. Maybe try to write the formula, try to do substitutions and try to solve it. So this way you will be able to reduce this examination hall pressure. This is also really important. Many students are having this problem. They'll study everything really good when they are in their home, when they are with their friends and all. But they don't have this capacity to reproduce, or they're really feared about whether they'll be able to reproduce it in the examination hall. So that examination hall is the thing which is giving pressure to the student. So try to crack it, just sit in similar atmosphere and try to write something, maybe any problem or something. Then the most important part is, I have written it here in 4 points. You have to look after yourself. You're going to do something really important for you. So the first important part is you have to take care of yourself, right? Have food and time, have ample amount of water, drink ample amount of water. The next part is rest and relaxation. I would mention this very clearly. There are students who will take this. We in my hostel, we used to say this as night outs during examination. They're not going anywhere, but it's like everyone will sleep maybe 1 or 2 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours. So never ever do this. I had done this a lot in my college days, and maybe in some of the examinations, I was literally sleeping. So there may be some issues related to sleep also. You're going to, now it's time like you're having study holidays, and what you'll have is the whole day, right? The 24 hours you'll have, and you'll be in your home. The only task you have is to study. So try to allocate or try to have a proper timetable which includes your sleep, rest, and all the things about your whole day routine. This is really important. So why you're not having this sleep pattern is, try to have a timetable, try to implement it, try to have a good sleep pattern also. Now moving on, I'll give you some steps which can help you in coming up with a plan for the examination. This is what we call as the effective examination preparation strategies, or what are the strategies or what are the methods you should adopt when you're preparing for an examination. So the first thing is having a belief in yourself. We have talked about it, right? Be confident. Always say this to yourself. I'm going to do this. I can do this. I'll do this. Always create positive messages. So I'm going to secure this much percentage in my 12th board exams. So always say this to yourself. I'm going to crack JEE. I'm going to crack NEET. I'm going to be an engineer. I'll work in this company in future. So have all these things in your mind. Say this to yourself maybe at least 5 to 10 times a day. So always believe in yourself. The next part is really important. It's do it for yourself. Students, most of the students are studying because they don't have an aim or something or a goal in their life. It's like they are studying for their parents because their parents want them to score 80% in 12. Never do this. If you are doing something, do it for yourself. I would tell you the advantage. When you're doing a task for yourself, you will be more responsible. So you'll be more dedicated. That's the difference. When you're doing a task for your parents, you will not be responsible and you will not be dedicated. But if it's your responsibility, you will give your 100%. So in your studies, it's something for you. So you have to do it for yourself. And there may be n number of hurdles. There may be people to motivate you. There may be people to demotivate you. Different kinds of people are surrounded, right? We are surrounded by different category of people. So always know your worth. There may be n number of hurdles. Never think of quitting. Always keep going. Maybe you'll not be able to score 80% marks in the first examination. Maybe you'll not be able to even pass the subject called mathematics in your model examination or in your model paper. Never be upset. Just try to put your 100% effort. So if you're not able to understand the topics, maybe you can consult with your friends, your teachers. So try to study more. Okay. So this is the strategy which every student should adopt when you're preparing for a board examination. So the first one is planning. So we know planning is really important. Even if we are going for a trip, we'll plan, right? So planning is really important. And we know the saying, it's like a well-laid plan means half done, right? So you have different factors that you should consider before planning. It's like you have 20 days before the examination. And maybe in that 20 days, for 2 days, you have to go to the school. Maybe you have to collect your hall ticket. So there are different things that you have to do in each day, right? So consider all these things and you have to prepare a plan. So at least have a plan in your life. This is really important. If you have a plan in your life and if there is something that needs to be changed, you can just change it, right? So don't have this or don't go for this unplanned lifestyle. Have a planned lifestyle in your life. And the next part is maybe you have heard about something like failing to plan is planning to fail, right? So if you don't have a plan, it's like you're going to fail. So never think about it. Have a plan in your life, have a schedule in your life, and include time for all the activities. Whether, yeah, it's like you are going to allocate 6 hours for sleep, just try to sleep for that time. And the next important part is implementing the plan. Maybe for these days you're going to school, you're having a separate routine, maybe for 10 to 5, or maybe after special classes, you're reaching home by 7 p.m. or something. So you are doing something else, and suddenly you are coming to implement a plan. You will not be able to implement it in a full-fledged manner. So give yourself time, maybe within 2 to 3 days, you can see the improvement. So try to have a plan, and the most important part is implementing the plan. So try to give your 100% when you're trying to implement it. And the next important part comes to us time management. We have to discuss a lot more related to time management. So here you have to have a timetable in your life and you have to follow it. And the most important enemy here is procrastination. So never have this feeling in your life or never go for this procrastination. It's like maybe you're not doing anything, and maybe by the end of the day or the end of the week, you'll have a lot more tasks. So this is really bad, right? So never go for this. Have a proper timetable in your life. The advantages, it can make you more disciplined and also focused. Focus is really important. Focus plays a really important part when it comes to examination. And the next part is choosing subjects wisely. This is something which every student is having an idea about, right? You are your own evaluator and you know what's your position in mathematics, what's your position in chemistry, what's your position in organic chemistry, what's your position in physics, right? So you are your own evaluator, and after having a proper evaluation, try to allocate time for different subjects. If you're very good in mathematics, maybe you don't have to allocate a lot more time here. If you're really good in physics, you have to invest very less time in physics. So if you're not good in mathematics, you have to invest more time. So try to arrange or try to make your timetable in such a way that it will cover your tough portions. And try to invest your most positive time for the tougher subject. This is really important because your most active time, maybe in the morning section or something, you can try for studying mathematics if maths is your tough subject. So you can do this. And the next part is writing short notes. This is something which can be helpful for you even in competitive examination. So try to inculcate a habit of writing short notes, but make sure that it is short note itself. I have seen students who are having a book for short notes. So they'll have the whole derivation written there. So short note something means you should write the equations and all those things, and it should be really short. And the next important part is mock test. So now you have your term to examination, right? So when you have your term to examination, you have some portions which are not there for the examination, some portions are there for the examination, and the pattern is literally different. So try to write mock test, maybe at least for that category of questions that you will be able to collect from the previous year question papers. So if they're asking 3-mark question, try to check in the previous year question papers that model of questions. Maybe 4-mark questions, you can also contact your teacher regarding which all questions will be there or what all topics will be there in this area. Then you can start writing this mock test. And I would prefer to tell you one thing. Now most of the students are studying mathematics in such a way that the question is the value of integral 0 to pi sine pi or something like that. You are simply reading mathematics, and maths is a subject
which you should study with pen and paper, right? So take maybe at least even a notice, just write down and solve the question. Never read a mathematics question. And if you have derivations or something, try to or make sure that you are writing it. This is really important. And the most important part is revision. So always try to revise the topics. Maybe at least maybe in a week, try to invest some time for revision. Now it's not about revision. The whole thing you're going to study and you're going to revise for the coming 20 days. And I'm sure about it. I have seen some comments in the chat box about I'm not able to remember anything. So I don't know who has typed it, but there was someone who was typing, I'm not able to remember those things that I have studied. So here is something which is related to remembering or something related to memory. So I have written here it has two columns. The first one is when are we going to remember things? Or we don't remember things when. So the first part is we remember things when we make connections or links, when it's a personal interest, when we write it down, when we say it aloud. So I'm able to recollect or remember things when I'm connecting them or when I'm linking them and studying. When it's a personal interest, I want to study, I want to score marks. So it's mine, it's my interest. When I'm writing and solving a mathematics problem, yeah, I'm able to remember it. When I'm reading something, I'll be able to remember it. And we are not able to remember things when we are stressed. That's the first part. If you're feeling really stressed and if you planned like you will be able to complete 2 mathematics chapters in 3 days, and if you're not able to do it and you are really stressed on the fourth day morning, what you have to do is take a break, maybe for 15 to 20 minutes. Just walk around in your house, maybe just sit alone, maybe just try some breathing exercises, relax yourself, and try to have an analysis that in the 2 chapters these much portions are remaining. So I'll study it maybe in the study holidays, maybe not study holidays, it's like between the exam, those gap days. Maybe I have 5 days for the before the max examination, so maybe in the first day I'll complete this portion. So you can say that. So that's why you will be able to reduce your stress. So this is the first step. The next part is when you're not interested. Now it's a high time, and you will not be able to separate topics based on whether you are interested or not. We have to study everything, right? And when you are not able to remember things when you haven't thought about it or when you haven't discussed about it much. So these are some points which you should take care of when you feel like you're not able to recollect everything or reproduce everything in the examination hall. And the next part is, what is the condition of our memory, or what is the capacity of our memory? Our memory is made in such a way that we'll be able to embed some amount of information into it. We'll be able to embed or we'll be able to store some amount of information into it, a particular amount of information. So what we are going to do for this 20 days, we are going to increase the amount that we are going to store in our brain in a single day. I'm going to study physics chapter today. I'm going to study maths chapter tomorrow, right? So maybe our memory will get affected. So I'll give you some methods. So this is some task which to give to students when we are in live sessions. So I have some words here. We'll give 1 minute time. I'm not going to do this exercise now. So we'll give 1 minute time. And the next step is, it's like you have some words here. Fog, long, hat, lull, or some words are written here. Some random words are here. And we'll give 1 minute time for students. And we'll ask them to write all the words that you are able to remember. I have not given 1 minute, that I know, but still some of the students will be able to remember some words if you have read out those words, right? So what I'm planning to tell at this point of time is, how many of you count or how many of you have an idea that how many words were there? Was it 20? Was it 30? Was it 15? Was it 10? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, what tricks did you use to remember those words? Maybe some students feel like there are 5 words of this color, there are 3 words of this color, but they were not able to recollect the words, but they know 3 words of this color. Then some students remember maybe 5 to 6 words because they made a sentence through that 5 or 6 words. That's the another step. Then some students remember the first letter of some of the words. Maybe they have made a short word with all the first letters of the words. We used to do this in our school. Then maybe some students remember it because they turned out the whole words into a story. So there are different methods for each person to get hold on things in memory. So these are some of the methods, or these are some of the tips that every student should use, right? Now moving on. So just have an idea about what I have typed here. We remember information more effectively when we organize it into meaningful chunks. So whatever you're studying, try to get it more organized. So you will be able to remember it more effectively. So that's what our memory is. Now the next part is what is called as repetition and rehearsal. That's what we call as revision. Without revision, we will not be able to remember things. I would tell you this is really important because we are going to feed our memory or our brain with a lot more topics each and every day. So revision is really important. So this is a graph, and as per the studies, how many times you have reviewed or how many times you have rehearsed or how many times you have revisioned a topic, it will be in the top of your memory. So our situation is like after learning something, whatever matter it is, it will decline our time from our memory. So we have to re-review it or we have to revisit it, then only we'll be able to remember it. That's the most important tip for all the students who feel like you are not able to collect the information back or to retrieve the information back when you're in your examination hall. So you can just see this graph. This is the first learn, this is reviewed, and this is reviewed. So once I have reviewed it at least 3 times, it's in the top part of my memory. So try to have this technique. And I would tell you, you don't have to sit a lot for revision, even if it's mathematics or something like that. Maybe you have studied for some hours and you feel like you're going to revise this chapter. Maybe take that book which you're going to revise and think from the starting position of the chapter what you have studied in the chapter. Maybe I'm not a good expert in your theory subject, so it's like maybe for physics if it's electricity and magnetism, or maybe if it's vectors, or if it's algebra, think about the different category of if it's differentiation, so how many different categories you have studied in that particular chapter. So think about the different headings, then think about how you're going to or how you have covered all the portions, how many questions were having this block diagrams, what all derivations was there. So maybe for 5 minutes you have to imagine all those things, then you can start revising. So this is something which can just give an insight to your memory or just will help you to recollect all the things that you have already studied. So try to follow this method. This is really important for those students who are struggling or who feel like I'm not able to reproduce things, I'm not able to remember formulas, I'm not able to reproduce the things. This is something which is there in students. There are students who have given their 100% effort and they have studied, but it's really a fact that they are not able to reproduce it in the manner they have studied in the exam paper. So try to practice this thing. This can help you a lot. Now moving on, the next part is goal setting. This is really important. So everyone should have a goal in your life. So being at the exam time, your goal should be like, I have 20 days time. I'm going to cover 6 chapters in physics, 5 chapters in mathematics, or 3 chapters in English. So whatever it is. So this should be your goal. So it's like you have to have small goals. And the most important part is it should be time specific goals. So if you're going to divide this 20 days into 4 parts or 3 parts or 5 parts or 6 parts, and you're going to have a timetable, so try to keep this as a goal in your life. It's a small goal. Literally, we used to say the term goal for maybe long term or short term. Different types are there. Professional goals is there, personal goals is there. So when it comes to this examination point of time or this board examination time, we can make use of this goal setting with time bound or with time into consideration for your studies. So this can be really helpful. So try to include this in your timetable also. Try to have this goals. Yeah, for these 3 days, I'll do this. Maybe by evening 6 p.m., I'll be completing this. Then try to practice it or implement it. So now something really interesting. Ways to build a habit stacking routine. This is really important. there may be students who feel like there'll be starting trouble. It's like I literally use this term because I have faced this in my school days or when I'm studying. Even now, also I'm studying, even if I'm with book. So I feel like I'll do this, but it's like if I'm starting it and after 5 to 10 minutes I'm okay, I'll go with it. So for those students, you have to start with a 5 minute block or small task. I would tell you after getting out of bed, maybe you can set your bed. It's a small task, right? So you have to start with a simple goal initially. Then you can come with longer goals or lot more goals in your life. And the next important part to all the students is create a checklist of the task that you need to complete in a day. So you can have a personal checklist, or maybe you have to do these much things which is really personal for you, these much things which is related to your school or your studies. Maybe before the examination, the day before the examination, you have to make your bag or prepare your bag, or you have to keep your whole ticket, pens, pencil, and all those things. So that can be, you have to have a checklist. And the next one is, if we are having a checklist also, we have to have a trigger. It's like something uh, triggering should happen for us to do a task. I used to set up alarms for doing things, or maybe you can set reminders also for doing things. So try to anchor your routine or try to have something or which is a trigger factor for you to do a particular task. This is really helpful. Now moving on, try to reward you also. And if you are feeling like, yeah, I'm going to plan this, I'm going to implement this plan, maybe something favorite, it's a reward from you to yourself. This can really work wonders. I would tell you, I used to do this. Maybe it's like after completing this much portions for this half an hour, I'll watch my favorite TV series. Or this is something which is really favorite for me. I want to eat this chocolate. So after completing this portions for after these 3 days, I'll have the snack. So you can keep it simple and which is really favorite for you. And the next important part is focus on repetition. Repetition is always the key to success. So if you have or if you are able to accomplish a task with maybe within 3 days or something, try to repeat it within next schedule. And always try to build one routine at a time. This is really important. So now moving on to more factors, try to involve or include some of the smart study methods. This is what we call as specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time based. Something we have already discussed. So you should have some specific goals in your life which is really beneficial for you. So have that type of goals in your life, maybe something related to the examinations, whether how this is going to benefit you and all. You should be clear and specific in the goal that you're setting. And the next one is measurable. Maybe after one day, you'll be able to measure the progress. Maybe after 2 days, you'll be able to measure the progress. This is really important. And it has to be achievable. I would say no student will be able to study 5 or 10 chapters of physics in a single day, right? Maybe you can study one chapter of physics and one chapter of mathematics or one chapter of chemistry or one chapter of English. That's okay. But never study a subject like the whole day, maybe for 18 or 16 or something hours. So try to have an plan which you're sure that you will be able to accomplish. And the next part is relevant. Think about whether you're going to do this task and whether this is relevant for you. And it has to be time based. We have already mentioned something related to time based. It's like you have to keep a time limit or a time bound. You have to do things considering this time. Now you have a really interesting method which was practiced maybe before 100 years, and it's what we call as the Ivy Lee method. This is something which is similar to that of to-do list. And maybe you feel like why she is saying all these things and this is not going to happen. But try to implement it for 7 days. The next day you will automatically do it. So the first thing is at the end of each day, write down 6 important things that you need to accomplish tomorrow. So my first task is I have to complete studying these equations, or I have to do one mock test today. And the third one is I'll study this derivation of physics, or I'll study this thing. So now your list should be something related to your studies. So after having this list, prioritize the items based on the list. So when on the starting or the next day, you have to start with task number 1. After completing the task 1, you have to move to task 2 and task 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. If you're not able to complete the 6 tasks in a day, don't get worried. just transfer that task to the next day and try to implement this. This is really going to work wonders. And now some students have typed in the chat box about something which is related to time management. So we'll talk something really detail about time management. And we know that maybe after Sundays and all, on Monday we are going to school. We'll say our friends that Sunday I was really busy. I was not having enough time to do the things. But think about what you have been doing the whole Sunday. Maybe you have watched one film. You have slept up to 8 a.m. And after that, maybe you have said 2 hours with your family. You went to some ground, you played with your friends. Maybe 4 or 5 tasks that you have done in that particular day, right? So try to have an understanding that lost time is never found again. We all know this fact, right? So be serious from this point of time. And everyone used to say like, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy. But the actual question is, what are we busily doing, or what are we doing all this time? So just try to wake up. Your future is created by what you do today and not tomorrow. So try to do things, try to manage time. So there is no shortcut for time management. It's just have a plan in your life, have a goal in your life, plan to achieve that goal and keep your plan. Now, I would give you one tip that I used to do when I feel like I have a lot of tasks to do, or if it's like I'm not able to manage my time. I'm not able to do things in my office and also in my house. I'm not able to do this household work and all the things. What I used to do is, for 3 days continuously, if my timetable is like I'm waking up at morning 5 a.m. and I'm going to bed at 11 p.m. From 5 a.m. to 11 p.m., I'll have a list of what all things I'm doing. So from 5 a.m., maybe 5 to 8, I'll be in kitchen. So from 8 to 9, I'll get ready to office. At 9, I'll punch in office. So maybe from 9 to 5, it's my office hours. So I'll not include that much. So after 5, when I'm coming home, I'll be really tired. Maybe I'll have tea. Then I'll wait for some time. I'll take rest for some time. Maybe I'll think like I'll make dinner after some time. So I'll just relax. I'll scroll on my phone. This is really important part for all of you. So I'll scroll in my phone maybe for half an hour, and that half an hour maybe will end to maybe like 7 or 7:30 or something. So I started at 5:30 or 6, and I thought like for half an hour I'll just relax by watching some Instagram reels or just watching some news or some random YouTube videos or something, and it ended or it stole my 1.5 hours. I think most of you are also facing this problem. So after 7:30 or 8, I went to kitchen, I prepared dinner, I took bath, I slept. Now, by the end of that day, before sleeping, maybe by 10:30 or 10:45, once I have the list of things that I was doing, I'll cut out the things that was not needed or that have wasted my time. So for that 1.5 hours, 6 to 7:30, I was with my phone, and it was absolute wastage, right? I was not using that time. I was not using reading news or something. I was just scrolling those reels, and which is not going to benefit me in any way. Or I'm simply playing a game. I know students who have started like, I have a 10-minute break. They have a really good timetable or a plan, and I have a 10 to 15 minutes break. So what I'll do is I'll check my phone. So they started with WhatsApp. They have replied to some chats. Then they feel like, yeah, I don't feel like I will watch YouTube video or something. I'll start playing a game. So that 15-minute break can turn into 40 or 45 minutes or 1 hour or 1.5 hours. This is something which you should control. So it's the quick decision making that the students are lacking now. So if it's 15 minutes break, it has to be 15 minutes break itself. So maybe you can keep an alarm in your phone itself. So after 15 minutes, what you have to do is keep your phone down, take your book, start studying. This is something which most students are lacking. So have that courage to implement your plan in a full-fledged manner. So it will take some seconds. I would say we used to say like it will take some seconds or some minutes for the brain to make you understand like that you can play the game for 5 more minutes. So don't give that time for your brain. Just keep your phone there, take your book and go. So the phone is something which is creating, or the social media is something which is creating a lot more distractions among students. So once I have deleted all the time that have caused or that are lost from the first day, what I'll do is in the next day I would try to be more productive. I will try to reduce my phone usage and all those things. So maybe after doing this for 2 to 3 days, you'll have a proper time management schedule in your life. So this is really important. I used to write this in my notepad itself, which is in my bag, because then only it's going to benefit me. So if you want, you can write this in your phone or something. So we are having all the facilities, right? So try to use these things in a positive way, or which is going to benefit you. Maybe you can watch during that 10-minute break. If you're having a doubt in a particular concept, you can watch a video which gives you an idea about that concept, because we are having a lot more resources online and everything can be cleared online, right? So instead of watching or instead of playing that game or watching that reels, maybe you can concentrate to some other video or some other study, something related to studies, or you can just meditate, or you can just keep your phone aside. You can go for a walk, you can eat something. So all this can be done. Now, this is something which is called as a decision matrix. So here I have classified tasks into different parts. So it's like urgent, important, not urgent, or not important. So if a task I feel like it's urgent and important, I'll do it right now. If it's urgent, if it's not important, maybe I'll ask someone to do it for me. Maybe my mother or maybe my dad. If the task is important and if it's not urgent, maybe I'll allocate some time. Maybe a schedule, maybe next week or something, I'll do it. If it's not urgent and if it's not important, it's examination time and you are not going to waste a second of your time. You can just delete it and you can just follow what are you doing. Now moving on, we'll quickly have a idea about what all things we have discussed. So what will be, or what all steps you have to follow to be successful in your board exams or to come out with flying colors. So the first one is setting up a plan. So always start early. Maybe those students who have not yet started, start today night itself. So familiarize yourself with all the things. Yeah, your timetable, all the resources that you have and what you have to study and all those things. So keep in mind about this time management also. And the next part is be strong in your basics. So have a proper understanding about the basics, because this is really important when it comes to examination. Have an understanding about what are your strengths, what are your weakness, which area you're strong, which area you need to concentrate more and all. And when you're planning, have a realistic plan and try to implement it in a full-fledged manner. Then try to involve or try to include some smart study methods. Never try to study like 14 or 18 or 20 hours a day. Try to study smartly. Always be consistent in your studies. And I know most of you have taken written class notes when your teacher was taking classes. So try to make use of that class notes. Always try revising topics, because it's going to increase your memory power. So always try to recall things that you have studied. Never compare yourself. Always compete with yourself. Maybe in your model examinations, if you are able to score 70, try to compete with yourself. And maybe in your board exams, try to score 80 or 85. So never compare yourself with anyone else. Try to compete with yourself. And if you feel a lot more pressured from maybe your parents or any person, what you can do is you can just directly talk to them. After all, it's our parents, or they are our life. So just go and talk with them. You can simply talk with them, like when you're saying this thing, I'm really pressured, like my exams are coming, so it's only 20 days. I myself is really pressured, and if you're asking me all these things, it's going to trigger me, or I'm getting really stressed out. So please don't do this, mom. You can simply go and talk with her. This is going to help you. So I hope the session was useful, and maybe I have covered almost all the areas which was the for your board examinations. And one more thing before ending the session that I would wish to specify is, every day may not be the same. Maybe in one day you'll be able to study everything and you are able to do things as per your plan. Maybe in another day next day you'll not be able to do everything as per plan. So don't get demotivated. try to come up with some steps which can help you or which can keep you motivated. Maybe you can talk with some persons that can help you motivated. Maybe you can take a break. You can go for half an hour walk or something. You can come back and you try to find out methods which can keep you motivated. So always be confident. And we, the Amrita team, wishes you all the best. So do come up with flying colors in the examination. And I hope the session was useful for you. So if you have anything to ask, you can just type it in the chat box. So I think this was useful. Thank you so much. And one more thing I will do is, if you need any personal help or if you have anything to talk with me, so I'm just going to type my mail ID and also my mobile number. So you can just simply mail me. So I'll try to get back to you. And I hope this was useful for you. And also our refreshers program was useful for you.